Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two cousins who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK,
And I'm Monica.
and how have you been this week, Miss Monica?
I've been pretty all right. Life changes, things going good. Also, I want to give a shout out to everyone who listened to mine and Mary Kate's extensive therapy session because I think we both kind of needed it last week.
Oh yeah, that was a breakdown and a half.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
things are turning up this week. We making
Oh,
moves, spiritual changes, emotional changes. We're progressing in life. I think
yeah,
so.
that's good. My week's been a big steaming pile of shit. Uh,
I mean, I feel that the beginning half of this week was not
well,
not the
no, I've unfortunately had some death and endings to deal with this week. It's been
rough one.
unfortunate. Um, yeah.
Yeah. It sucks. Fucking life sucks, and it sucks when we have to experience the death without the aliens, and and it's just something that
But
isn't enjoyable to obviously
no,
deal
and
with.
it's really only like, I mean, obviously like death sucks all the time, but like it's really only really horrible because I'm here
And you're
and
not able to home.
I can't go to the wakes, I can't go to the funerals, I can't hug people. Like I just
Yeah, and that sucks. Like
yeah.
big time, big time.
But on the other hand, I figured out what I'm gonna be for Halloween.
What's that?
Carol fucking Baskin.
Okay, you're dressed up as Carol fucking Baskin. We need to dress up for our Halloween episode. That only seems fair for our listeners and our viewers because our viewers will be able to see our.
Except that, okay, the week we filmed the Halloween episode will not actually be Halloween. And that weekend, I'm planning a staycation at the fanciest hotel in Bangkok. And so I'm going to be wearing some nice ass Hilton bathrobe and slippers for that podcast.
Just throw your flower crown on and call it a day.
You know, flower
I
crown and
I
Hilton.
still have I have no idea what I'm planning on being for Halloween. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it up to our viewers to pick it.
Oh, cute. I still don't know if I'm doing anything for Halloween, but if I do, like all my friends were trying to figure out like what is the easiest, quickest costume. And I was like, I already have the hair. And
Yeah.
if I bought a flower crown, I would probably wear it more than once anyway. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
See, I have two options. Well, I have one, but I don't. No one's gonna know who I am. Like, I'm having a few people over for a fire on Halloween because there's no parties going on. I'm too old to trick or treat. I've had to accept that last year, and that makes me sad. I literally went trick or treating until I was 18. Don't drag me. I just
I'm not, but also like, yeah, you're 20. You're too old.
yeah, I'm too old to trick or treat now.
Oh no,
So
I was 19 the last time I went trick or treating, but it was when I was in college, and the town around my school was basically filled with like old people who expected drunk college kids to come trick or treating, and so they gave us candy. Like,
that's fun. I know now I'm at the age where I buy discounted candy from the store the next day. Um, so I'm thinking, because obviously everyone knows that we're going to be doing our Halloween episode. And I, once we, for those of you who have seen the movie Halloween already, which if you're not MK, how have you not? Um, the one person, but with how my hair will look, I don't know if it'll work. Okay, I'm spiraling. I want to be Annie from Halloween. And
well,
like
that's Jamie Lee Curtis's character, right?
that, no, that's Lori. I want to be
Lori. Oh, okay.
I
I
could
just
be
know that Jamie Lee
Lori.
Curtis is in all the movies. Oh
Jamie
yeah.
Lee Curtis. Well, she's not in all of them
No, I know she's not in all of them, but
because the storyline gets really stupid. That's the second point. I, I have, I could be Lori. But I'm also, next week's podcast, my hair will look completely different. So keep your eyes out for that.
Just
Um,
wait for me to drag her on air. Don't worry.
she can drag me. I'm expecting it fully, but watch. She's gonna see me with my hair done and go, no, it's actually kind of cute. But she'll still bully me anyway because it's just what we do. Even if she thinks it's cute, she'd be like, yeah, but you look like this. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I might do Annie from Halloween. And do like the slit throat thing and wear like the big white button up shirt with like a blanket around me and like my shoes and like yellow socks and like shorts. But like I have to remember I'm gonna be outside on Halloween, it's gonna be cold. So I'm like, I'm still depending, it's up in the air. Give me ideas and suggestions as to what to be for Halloween. Come the spookiest chick in town and I don't know what to do. This is the first year I haven't had my Halloween costume planned for a year in advance. So
The
and also
last time,
a couple costume this year either. So
see, the last time I eat, oh no, yeah, no, last year I went to a Halloween party, but I didn't dress up. The year before that, I didn't go to a Halloween party, but I went to Hong Kong Disneyland for Halloween, so like basically. Um, and yeah, I think the year before that I worked. I haven't like I haven't dressed up for Halloween since college.
last year, me and my ex were, um, we dressed as the Torrances. Amy is the wife's name, and Jack. And I had like I found her exact outfit she wears, which is like a corduroy like
Oh yeah, I
overall,
know.
and I was like, this is dope. So we dressed up as that. It was honestly a really fun costume, really cute costume. I want to do it again. The year before that, we were skeletons, and the year before that, we were Tate and Violet from American Horror Story, which makes a lot of sense. Um,
I was gonna
so
say the Torrances kind of does too.
that as well. Toxic. Anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so and then like I've done like I want to do Corpse Ride again, but I want to do Corpse Ride when I actually have a party to go to and not my backyard. So like I want to do also whenever I get in a relationship, I want to do Lydia and Beetlejuice so badly. Lydia is my I am Lydia. That's just who I am.
Oh my God. Did you know that my I don't know, I don't have real words to describe, uh was Beetlejuice at Hong Kong or at Singapore Universal for like 3 years.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
If you're listening, hello. You're probably not, but it's cool.
Me and my friends. Hi, friends that I have. All four of you. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, you have
But
4 friends?
I have, in theory, technically, I have 5.
Okay, the fact that you can count your friends means you need more friends. Anyway, um, this week we are talking about season 1, episode 12, Children of the Night.
I kept having Creature of the Night from freaking Rocky Horror Picture, like that ending part when I read the. I kept having that stuck in my head after I read that. I'm like, same thing, just different shapes, you know. Say, you know.
Cool. Yeah. It obviously premiered on April 19th, 2013. It was directed by Darren Serafian and written by Brian McGreevy and Lee Shipman. I have nothing new to say about them because we've already talked extensively about them.
Today we do actually have, in this episode, we have some pretty hefty special effects work. Where part of one of the scenes is visual and practical. But we are back again with Howard Berger, who has an extensive in horror effects. So I absolutely love that. But there are two other people that I want to give credit to that I saw that had a pretty decent track record with special effects. Not big, but the movies that they have worked on are pretty cool. It's Warren Appleby and Tim Bearbell.
You don't know how to say anybody's name.
I don't.
What
Warren.
what were their roles in this? Like,
They were part of special effects, like they did also prosthetics, and they were part of the.
okay.
So that like their credit was just special effects. I can't remember if they were coordinators or just said special effects because I
Okay.
know that Warren Appleby, she worked on It and It Chapter 2, and as a special effects coordinator. Still, whether she was in the application process or not, she still coordinated a bunch of it. And It Chapter 2, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but last time I was binge watching like interviews about it, the bathroom stall scene this movie has the most blood in a horror movie because of that scene. So
Really? More than The Shining?
I'm pretty throughout the whole movie and that scene, I believe so.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, because the Shining is
The Shining there's no blood in it besides in the twin when the twins are in the hallway and that scene. It Chapter
yeah.
2 is very graphic and they had it marked on the tub, like on the stall for each movie they were surpassing based on how much blood was in it.
Oh, that's cool.
So that I love. And she also worked on Mama, which I don't know if a lot of people have ever seen that one. It's really creepy. The effects for Mama were mostly visual with some practical effect in there. But she was still creepy, but I actually really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad one, surprisingly, for the time that it came out. There are obviously flaws where it needs to be, but storyline-wise, the ending kind of seemed like a perfect ending for both girls. If you haven't seen it, highly suggest watching it. And then Tim and Warren both had worked on The Thing, the 2011 remake,
Yeah.
and they both worked on Saw, I believe 5, because it's IV. Is that 5 or is that 4?
That's 4.
4. Okay, I don't read Roman numerals. So they both worked on Saw 4. So this is their third time working together on a film. And I think not film on a production. And I think for what was done in this episode, I'm highly thrilled with how everything came out, special effects wise, and even story wise.
Yeah, and
So,
there will be a lot to say about it.
oh, for sure, this is definitely one of those episodes where we will be going in depth because we're nearing the end. We have one episode left after this.
Yeah, and this episode, it was definitely a penultimate episode. Like, it had all the feels of exactly what it should be to be the second to last episode. I loved, I said, we're either going to absolutely hate it or absolutely love it. Those are our only two choices. And we both loved it. But that doesn't mean we have positive feelings
Exactly.
about, like, it didn't make us feel happy. We loved the episode from a theoretical standpoint, but we are not happy right now.
And when me and Em were talking about this yesterday before we had watched the episode, she said we're either gonna love it or we're gonna hate it. There's literally no in between. And I was like, watch, either we'll both have opposite opinions on this episode. Either I'll like love it or hate it, and you'll like be the exact opposite. But regardless, I feel like we're gonna have the opposite feelings of what we have this week for the final episode, which scares me because like either it could where it's left off. I will get to where everything's left off. We're left on a pretty big cliffhanger that I don't know how we're gonna get back from.
No idea.
But I think for what it is worth, I feel like they set it up for and we're having the same director and writer next week, I believe.
Yes.
So hopefully with them keeping the same director and writer on for this next episode, it will.
Yeah,
I have high hopes.
I do fully believe, because Brian McGreevy is the author of the books, I do fully believe that these two episodes are going to be well written. They are going to follow what the intention of the story was. Like, I don't doubt him as an author. I I'm excited to see how the season ends, and then I don't know what my feelings will be about the second season. Like that's kind of where I'm at. I'm excited to see how it ends. I don't know if I'm gonna like the ending, but I'm excited to see how they wrap it up.
Mhm.
And then question mark?
Yeah. I feel like for us to have theories on season 2 is going to be an
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, I mean, I obviously don't have any theories on season 2 yet, but
Yeah. Because everything's not closed off. Are you drinking blue Fanta this week?
no, this is just water, but it's chrysanthemum water.
Oh, fancy. At least you're staying hydrated.
You know, gotta get those vitamins somehow.
Chrysanthemum. So they make what, flower water in Thailand?
Yeah.
Do they have like, okay, odd question. We're kind of derailing here for a second. Um, do they have like other flowers that they make water? Does it taste like the flower? Does it have like a floral hint to it, or is it just
I don't think it tastes like anything except for water. My best friend thinks it's disgusting and won't drink it at all.
really?
So I don't know. It does have 4.6 milliliters of straight chrysanthemum in it.
Wow, so they said taste the flower.
Yeah. It's got like a weird, like herbal aftertaste a little bit, but I don't think it tastes anything other like coming from a place where like New York where you can drink tap water, I don't think it tastes any different than like drinking tap water. Like it doesn't,
Oh,
you know how like bottled water has that super like,
like crisp, like
yeah,
smooth, like yeah.
yeah. This tastes more like just drinking tap water.
Oh,
Yeah.
that, that's fair. I like how we started talking about floral water. No.
Way.
um,
The episode description says, as Olivia,
that was my laptop. Sorry, everyone whose ears just got
ooh, I
destroyed.
thought something broke in my apartment. I was real confused.
I feel bad for everyone's ears. I'm so sorry.
As Olivia and Chaucer face off at the mill, Shelley learns the awful truth about her family, and Peter and Roman uncover the killer's identity. Now, I will say, of those three storylines, only one of them is really true.
Yeah. No, two.
Well, I would not call what happens at the mill a face-off. There
Fair.
was there was not a lot of fight there. Um, Shelley learns like a quarter of a truth.
Yeah. She learns Norman's truth. That's
Yeah,
all she learned.
Norman's version of the truth, and then then the last one is true.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, so we begin the episode at the mill. Um, Chaucer is trying to escape. Her tattoo's still looking like straight shit.
Yeah. I won't have a bone to pick with it this week because the FX department clearly was more concerned with everything else in this episode than her tattoo, which I will give it a slide this time. But when there's no special effects and you're going to put a temporary tattoo on, I can't get into this rant again. You heard it 3 episodes ago.
Yeah. She like is. They spend an uncomfortably long amount of time showing her trying to get out of the cage.
Yeah, like almost too long.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I forgot to write where the credits were.
I
But
don't know if the credits were after that or after the next scene.
yeah, I don't know if they were they were either right now or after the next. No, they were right now because she's trying to pick the lock and as soon as she puts her metal thing into the lock, it flashes to the credits. It goes black.
There you go.
I do remember that. Um But then, so again, unnecessary. Sometimes what they choose to focus on before the credits doesn't make sense
Make
to me.
But here's the only thing I will give them credit for. They literally said, you know where we ended off last time? We're literally going to pick up right
That's true.
out.
They did do that again, which was nice because sometimes they don't.
Yeah. They're like, remember that whole last episode? We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, remember that time that Roman cut the F out of his chest and then, oh yeah, we never talked about it again.
That irritated me
I'm
so
still
much.
mad about it. I'm still mad about it. So then we get the next scene. Norman is coming to meet Tom, who to find out the identity of the dead body. And my note just says no with 9 O's
Yeah.
because the dead body was Jenny.
Jenny, she was like the
Norman
twin.
literally says she's the only real friend Shelly's ever had.
Yes. And she also is like the only person that, like, yeah, the twins had a sense of normalcy, like, if they weren't 15. Like, if they were older, they would make perfect sense. But if Jenny is like the only legit normal character beside like outside character, that she seems like what teenagers I had a stroke, sorry, what teenagers should be doing at her age and not living in a fantasy novel, because everyone in the
Yeah.
show acts like they know they're living in a fantasy show.
Yeah.
So
So I'm sorry, I'm like just like chilling today. I'm gonna look real weird and triple chinny because I'm just laying down. Um, yeah, so Jenny is dead, and I am very sad. I wrote no with 9 O's, not Jenny. WTF?
yeah,
Although I
that
will admit, I did accidentally see a spoiler like a couple weeks ago that somebody posted something on Twitter about why did they have to kill Jenny, but I didn't expect it to be like this,
mhm.
and I was not prepared.
Yeah, I see. I didn't know that Jenny was dying. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Poor Shelly. She's like, now that probably makes Shelly feel more alone than she already is, with like her
Oh,
family off
cannot
fighting
even
battles.
imagine. So Norman is like trying to be Tom's friend, and Tom says some bullshit about how he's not going to rest or grieve his daughters until Peter Romancic is in the ground.
Yes. Is this the scene where he's standing outside with that gun?
No,
Yeah.
no, no, not
Oh,
yet. This is they're still in the hallway after we find out
okay.
it's Jenny, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill Peter." Whatever.
Talk your talk.
Yeah. Then we go back to the mill, and Olivia tells, quite honestly, her weirdest story yet.
Yeah. Her little rant that she went on at the mill.
So she's telling a story about how her cousins used to make her play a game where she would have to lay in the grass in the woods and lay perfectly still because wolves will come to eat the little girls. And then she wasn't perfectly still, they would attack her with kisses. And I was like, all right, weird flex, but go on.
Just Olivia being cryptid, like always, saying, "Let me tell you this really weird story that makes you think that I'm from the 1400s, and where I lay in the woods where there's wolves." And like, I don't
But
really think
also,
kids
like,
nowadays are out
but
doing that.
also, like, does that mean that all of the time the wolves just go for the little girls? Is there more to this? Like,
Yeah.
what? What? But as Olivia's just sitting here, She's sitting next to the cage, just talking nonsense as she does. And then Chasser finally picks the lock and tries to jump out of the cage. And I wrote, Yo, Clem, did you really think that climbing out of the cage with her right there was going to work out for you? Because it doesn't.
It shows us the hallway and Chasor
Just
scream bloody
scream.
murder.
Yeah,
Which
so
sucks. We still can't even see what Olivia is capable of.
right.
Well, we do, but like we don't at the same
We
time.
don't have any idea what happened. Just it flashes away and to Chasser yelling and dying, like the type of yelling you do when you're dying. Like it was not good. I was like, oh, you are dumb.
Yes.
Then we get to we go to Norman's house, and Letha is making herself a cup of tea, and she feels like she's being watched, cause she is.
By the creepiest bitch in town.
Because then creepy ass Christina just pops out of the woods, and Letha is like being Letha, her dumb, naive, using her heart instead of her brain self, and it's like, oh, Christina, I'm so worried about you. I don't want anything to happen to you. Do you want me to call my dad? Like, let me fix everything. And she brings her into the house. What?
Do you hear my dog?
No, your sound went totally out, so I did not hear it.
Oh, probably because of my dog. Losing its absolute mind down there. Sounds like he's about to kill someone.
I hear him now. But yeah, so then Letha does the dumbest thing you could ever do and lets the crazy girl into the house. I literally was like, no, don't. I said, dumb, Letha. Don't let the scary chick in the house when you're alone.
Don't let the scary chick in the house.
And then it gets weirder because Letha's like trying to be helpful. And she asks this, I wrote this down because I just did not understand it. Letha says, do you want me to make you some tea? And Christina goes, I have tea all the time. I was like, what does that mean? She like gets super defensive about a cup of tea. And I was like,
It also doesn't help that even though Letha still goes and makes her tea, which I got the inkling that she kind of didn't want tea because she has tea all the time. Letha was like, you know what? I'm still gonna make you tea. And then while Letha is like pouring the tea for her,
she calls her a
like,
stupid fucking bitch.
Stupid fucking bitch. Like she whispers it just like that, a creepy little ass white haired looking and then Letha like turns around and looks at her, but like I couldn't tell if she heard what she said or not. Cause it wasn't like, what the hell did you just call me, look?
Right. But then she tells Letha that she's afraid that the wolf is coming for Letha. And for a split second, I was like, does she actually care? No. I had one moment, like one tiny moment where I was like, oh, maybe she actually like is just scared.
Bold you to assume that.
I mean, I'll be honest, they kind of wrote this episode in a way to make you question why you were still mad at Christina. Like, it was really, really well done. It had just enough of being like, this girl is messed up, and wait, is this girl messed up? Like, it was super well done, the amount of like, we don't know. Do I trust? No, I don't trust her. No.
There were multiple times where it's like you wanted to understand and sympathize with Christina. Like I caught myself doing that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Like they want to make you worry about her for like just enough that the end of this episode will destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then we go to the church, and Roman has brought Peter all his bacon grease and the giant axe.
And Peter just finds it so amusing that he brought like this.
He's just laughing so hard, and he's like, Roman, don't poke your eye out. Like, just they're just having a moment. And then Letha calls Roman and is like, I'm gonna need you to come here. It's an emergency. And Roman's obviously like, well, duh, I'm going. And Peter's like, I'm coming too. And Roman goes, everyone in the entire town wants to kill you. No, you're not coming. He's like, I'll hide in the trunk.
He's like, my girlfriend's in danger. I gotta be there, bro.
I swear, Peter might be the dumbest character on the show.
I wouldn't say the dumbest. One of the dumbest, but not the dumbest. Letha is.
Okay.
Love the girl, but she a few screws too.
Yeah. So anyway, they go to help Letha. Then we have a scene where Tom is just standing outside of Jenny's house with a loaded gun, just chilling. And the other cops are like, hey, buddy, how you doing? Can you give us that gun, please? Okay. Yeah, Tom's just losing his mind.
He reiterates again, like, I'm not gonna stop until that romantic kid's in the ground. So.
But also, he's standing outside of Jenny's house, and the only reason you know this is because there's a family talking to the other cops, and then the cops come to talk to him, and they say the Fredrickson family deserves some like peace and everything. But my question is, if he thinks that Peter's going to kill another person, why is he going to the dead girl's house and not like a different girl's house?
Yeah. Or like patrolling the city instead of.
Right. Because like we find out later, and we'll talk about that later, but we find out later that he also thinks Letha is in trouble. So like go stand with your freaking machine gun outside Norman's house. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Also, it's not really a machine gun. That was an exaggeration. But so then we get
to the mill.
The scene that I don't even know where to begin talking about this scene. I'm actually going to sit up in this one. Hold on. I got to adjust myself because this scene is that important.
Storyline wise, amazing scene. Special effects scene wise, amazing scene.
So, Price walks into the mill, and Olivia's like, I have a present for you. Mm-hmm. She's still warm, so you can do whatever it is that you do. Which, weird. And Price goes and looks at Clementine's body and is...
We don't get to see it yet.
We haven't seen it yet. But he goes to look at her body and is immediately disgusted and, like, wanting to vom. And he's like, Lott is not going to like this. And she's like, if they want Norman's share of the company, they're going to have to learn to like it. And then they say a bunch of stuff. And basically, I don't remember word for word their conversation, but basically the revelation of this scene is that the effing Order of the Dragon is Lott. Mm-hmm. Is the company that is trying to buy Godfrey. So this whole thing just got even more effing twisted and weirdly connected, and I was stressing out. And then Price is like, you're the only person who hasn't why do you never ask what it is that I actually do? And Olivia goes, as long as you keep making me money, I don't give a flying fuck what you do.
Mm-hmm. And I think that there is truth in that statement to an extent, but not fully.
No, I do. I think she just needs the cash to cover
Mhm.
up. Well, she also needs him to cover up. He like yells at her and says that he's been being a janitor for her for this entire time. And she's like, being my janitor saves you from dealing with Norman.
Yeah,
And like, I don't know.
weird.
Everything is so complicated. And they like gave you just enough new information for you to be like, wait, what? But not anything, not any real information. We still have no idea what Price does, no idea what Olivia does. Everything is just like, what?
It's like, okay,
I feel justified in finding out that Price is not the bad guy here.
yeah. Price isn't innocent, but I don't think
Yeah,
he's as bad
so
as I was thinking.
he basically, so then I'm going to finish just the story, like what I want to say about this, and then let you go off on the FX. But so he eventually goes and to talk to Chasser, who it turns out is not dead yet. Whatever
Yeah.
is wrong with her, she's not dead yet. And then he's telling her, like, you and I are both a part of something bigger, even bigger than the people we're working for, but like, we're not ready yet. It's not there yet. So, like, he is working for something that is going to try to stop the order, which is trying to stop the crazies. And like, I don't, there's so
It's a
many
lot
layers
of,
now. There's so many layers now, and I'm confused. But the thing that threw me off a little bit was that, you know how Price always talks in his little recorder thingy? He said that sometimes you have to do things that like go against your humanity in order or like for your penance. So basically he's saying like he's repenting, he's like making up for his sins by being Olivia's janitor, by doing all these things, and doing these bad things is just what he has to do to get to where he needs to go, wherever that is. So like I'm kind of back on Team Price, except that I still have too many questions about him.
yeah. Like, I'm definitely starting to see that Price probably isn't as bad, but I don't think he is like a like fantastic character. I don't think
I
he's
don't
like
think anybody is black and white in this show. Like I don't think anybody is entirely good.
and the part I'm gonna geek out about in this scene that M was not having. Um, our lovely, our oh so lovely Chassor. When we finally get to see her body, she, from her torso to her neck, and part of her, I think her one arm was still fine. No, they're both.
No.
She is completely like skinned of
She's
her.
flayed. Like it is rough.
She is skinned, and it's like you can only see her muscle tissue underneath her, and which means they took off a layer like her like skin, and like they got like she like Olivia said she like they got like that fascia off, which is like that white filmy thing that's in between your skin and your muscle. She like de-skinned her that much to where it was just her muscles exposed, and she's like just sitting there making these noises like it's like all
Well,
she's
because
doing.
she says I can't breathe, and Price says it's because your neck's broken. So not only is her every inch of her skin removed, her neck is also snapped.
Mm-hmm. And like the way that they did it was honestly amazing. Like this part was what I believe was practical. I believe that this is all practical as well here, because
I can't imagine it not being with the way it
they
looked and the way she was laying. Like
and like even the way that it moved, because like she was still breathing but slightly, and this honestly goes a lot onto the acting as well as of the actor that is wearing the makeup. She is selling the part that she is like, I got fucking skinned. Like,
Yeah.
she is selling it so well. And they put like this like glistening, like, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like what you use to, for stage makeup to make it look like you're sweating. So like if you're in like a scene and you're not actually sweating, but like they'll like put it on you in certain areas to like make you look glossy, like there's like a sheen to your skin. That's what it looked like. They must have used something like that to make it juicy, or it could have just been blood, but it wasn't. You could still see the texture, and it wasn't like muddled away in fake blood. It looked very clean for it. Like it looked like Olivia has been a surgeon for years and did like the cleanest job at getting rid of her skin. Like it wasn't that blood. Like it was bloody, but not like to where you couldn't see the actual detail within the prosthetic and within what they were trying to show you. Because if they would have done it wrong or they wouldn't have executed as well as they did, it could have just looked like she just had a bloody, gutty torso, and they paid attention to details like, no, you're looking at her muscle. She was skinned, which
Yeah.
I freaking
Well,
love.
like, shout out to Candace McClure, who is the actress who plays Clementine, for like pulling that off without seeming like I'm laying under prosthetics.
Yes, because there are times where like the makeup will look great, but the people in the makeup do not sell that shit. Like
Yeah.
they just don't.
Yeah, it was surprisingly seeing a half-skinned human being was not the worst part of this episode for me. Just
There you go.
um but I will say, so the way they did the camera, Price like comes around a corner and we see her legs first, and then it's like a slow pan up to like when we eventually see her head and see that she's still awake. And I was so convinced that when we came around the corner, she was going to have her guts pulled out the same way the dead girls did. And I was going to thought that was going to be like our confirmation that Olivia was a wolf or something. And then it wasn't. It was that, which was amazing. And like, but also like, what the fuck?
Also, an FYI, because we didn't talk about this when we were talking about the story like line of the scene. Olivia had had Price plant the Willoughby girl's body at the mill.
No, she didn't. No,
He
no, no.
said
He said that having the Willoughby body there to be found was careless and messy, and she said that wasn't my doing.
yes, but I
She
don't know.
she she had found the body there, but didn't have him clean it up. She just like basically, and she was like, "I didn't do it, so I didn't care." That's what she was saying.
I was like, when I had saw that scene, I was like, does she know someone that did it then? Like, I was
Well,
thinking way
that's
too
the
much
thing.
into it.
He asked her, he said, "So do you know who's killing these girls?" And she just said, "Take care of this," and walked out. So we don't know if Olivia knows.
No.
Um, but the way they talked about it is like this new spree of girls is obviously an issue, but it wasn't shocking to any of them, which means that horrible things have been happening to less important people for a very long
Long.
time. And he basically says as much. He was like, the ones before were tramps and vagabonds, but like she's going to be missed. This is not as easy to hide.
And then she was like, "Oh, you had feelings for her, didn't you?" And I was like, "Damn, Olivia, you bitch." Like,
Right. I mean, clearly he did. He kisses her goodbye before he finishes off the job of killing her, so she's not slowly dying in pain anymore.
which is
But
weird because like he suffocates her, but she obviously can't fight back because she's skinned and every part of her is like broken.
yes, but he suffocates her. But remember, Price has like super
Chloroform.
strength. Like, no, he has super strength. Remember, he's got like Hulk hands. So, that is the quickest way to get her to die without doing any more harm to her body for whatever he needs her body for.
Yeah. Fun.
Cute. Real cute. I'm just hoping it's not like a Shelly 2.0, and then we have like zombified
Shastra running around.
walking around, yeah.
Hey, who's to say?
Then we go to Norman's office, and Tom is sitting in there, and he's like, I'm still not a patient. I still don't want to talk about this. I'm just here to tell you your daughter's going to die, so you might want to go say goodbye to her. And I was like, wow, that was rude.
Tom really said, screw everything. Screw it. I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Then we go back to Norman's house. Peter and Roman have come to rescue Letha, and Peter, he knows something's up with Christina. He can't figure it out. He like has a feeling, a gut feeling.
After this scene, because they end up taking Christina with them to the church, and they're all in the car together, and Peter keeps staring at her like she's like, hey, I'm sorry, like I told everyone that you were a wolf. And he's like, oh, like it's fine, like no hard feelings. And he's like staring at her, and I wrote down this note saying it's fucking Christina, because the way he was looking at her in that one scene, because when it was just him and Roman at the church, he said, it's gonna find me. It's gonna know where I am. It's gonna find me.
He had, yeah, we missed that one. It was just him and Roman alone in the church. He said, after like doing that spell to like be able to turn, I can feel it, and I can feel that it can feel me. And he has this weird feeling about Christina, and I don't think he has processed the feeling. And that's what I was confused too. Like this scene was a lot of that building up to not knowing how I felt about Christina, because his initial feeling about the situation was that he could feel that she was in danger.
Mm-hmm. Which part of it I think she is.
Right.
But the other part,
when we get to later, we'll explain, but I don't think he was wrong in his gut reaction, his feeling that Christina is in danger. He knew Christina and Letha were both in danger, and he needed to do something about it. He needed to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super awkward.
Yeah.
Then they go to a convenience store to get stuff for him to do said protecting, and I really felt the convenience store scene was incredibly unnecessary.
Yeah.
I did not need it. I appreciated that it showed Roman
taking responsibility
and apologizing, and so the guy who runs the convenience store is the guy who tried to fight Roman in the bar in like the first or second episode or whatever, and he won't sell them anything because he's got
God-free money,
but also he won't give anything to Peter because Peter is a romantic, so he's like, I hate everybody. And Roman like steps up and he's like, you know what, I am an asshole. You should have beat me up. Like, I deserved it. I've done a lot of shitty things to a lot of people, and I have been very entitled and very reliant on my money, and it's messed up. And I was like I appreciated that they showed us that side of him and him being like aware of it.
mm-hmm.
For the pace of storytelling, it was very
not needed.
It was probably the one scene that I genuinely did not want in the episode, like that I could have done without. And
yeah,
they probably added it for timing so that it did end how it ended. But
still,
I'm sure you could have had a minute and a half shorter episode rather than put that in.
Basically, yeah. And now we go to the scene where Norman comes over to check in on Shelly, And Shelly is very not wanting Norman's attention with her body language. Like, he walks in, she turns her chair like this. Then he walks to the other side of her, she turns her chair like this. But
Yeah.
he's not picking up on her, like.
No, I think he is picking up on it. I think he knows that he understands why she's mad at him. He understands that she's not ready to talk to him, but he has to be the one to tell her this.
Yeah.
Because in the scene, he does tell her, like we said, he tells her some truths. He tells her
that Jenny had passed away.
Well, so he ends with that. He starts by being like, I'm sorry. Your mom and I are complicated, and I've spent so long lying to myself about it that I forgot that there are some people who still believed that lie. Like, and he's trying to like get Shelly to realize that he isn't trying to hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
But he's doing this in a way to kind of soften her up and open her up, because he has to tell her that Jenny was the dead body. Mm-hmm. To which Shelly
did not take
loses it. First of all, she turns all the shades of blue. Mm-hmm. And then she runs out of the room.
And mind you, when she got upset, all the lights in the house started flickering.
Everything started flickering. Her computer screen went black. The lights started flickering and the computer died. She disappeared. And then she continues to disappear. Like, Norman chases her all the way out of the entire house, and she is straight gone. So, first cliffhanger of the episode, where the F did Shelly go? Because we won't see her again for the rest of the episode. So she is gone.
Yeah.
Then we arrive at what is a long scene, but is the end of the episode. So it's like a series of scenes, but it's a longer one, but it is the end of the episode. We get back to the church, and Christina.
I literally have a note put down that says, Christina's fucking weird. Because Christina opens up her mouth and says, complete silence, like no one's talking. And she's like sitting there like looking weird, being Christina. And she goes, I kissed you once. And I was like, excuse me? Like literally just like that. Like she says it just like that. And then Peter just looks at her. And she's like, it was when you first moved here. And I was like, yeah, thanks for sharing. Didn't know sharing is caring time was happening. But thanks.
So Christina is on she's having her come to Jesus moment. And she's telling us all the things that she has done in her hope and search to be the world's greatest writer. Because writers can't make things up. God forbid.
They have to live through experience.
And just know everything that they want to write about. So when she met Peter and decided he was a werewolf, she decided that the only way to write about him was to also become a werewolf.
Yep.
So she did some research and found out that there are 3 ways to become a werewolf. To be born one, to be bitten by one, or to be dumb enough to choose to be one.
And the way that you have to choose to be the werewolf is you have to bring water and drink water out of the paw of a werewolf. Which, in my head, I'm like, yeah, the paw print of a werewolf. I'm like, watch, she's like dumb enough, she can go drink that and she can sit there and think she's becoming a werewolf when she just was like drinking out of, like, I don't know, a dog's paw. Like.
No, but she followed Peter.
Because she's a stalker. I hate Christina.
So yeah, Christina chooses to be a werewolf. But she also has a lot of pent-up insecurities about her sexuality. And in her decision to become a werewolf, uh, she wants to experience life or get rid of the people who have experienced things she can't. So the first girl she kills is Brooke, who was sleeping with Roman, and she was jealous of that. And then they show a flashback to Lisa making out with her boyfriend. So Christina killed her. Then she killed the twins because the twins were always pressuring her to be more sexual. And now she wants to kill Letha because she watched Peter and Letha do it.
Mm-hmm. So she just has a lot. She doesn't know how to process emotions, and she's like, "Let me become a werewolf. Let me do that." And then,
but also there was like an air of "I'll do it for you, Peter" to it. Like I was like, is anybody in the story not in love with Peter? Anybody?
Nope. Everyone's in love with Peter.
So
obviously, besides family members, because they're not like the Godfreys where they're like all incestual, where they want to like there's like sexual tension between the mom and the cousin and everyone, like and they're not the Godfreys, so like the family isn't like in love with him, but like they love him.
So basically, we were right. It was Christina, but the how and the why was way more than I could have seen coming.
Oh yeah, for sure. And at this point, like Peter has her like while she's explaining what she did to these girls, there's a point where Peter, after she says, "I wanted to know what it felt like to turn," Peter's like, "Yeah, no, follow me this way." And he gets the cord and he puts it around her neck and she's like, "Are you going to kill me?" And he was like, well, then she's like, well, first she asks,
she says, "Do you hate me?" And he said, "No, I don't hate you." She said, "Are you going to kill me?" He said, "Yeah." And she said, "That's okay. You can kill me as long as you don't hate me." That's why I was like, oh my God, she's in love with him.
Yeah. And right now she's still Christina. And then he asks her, like, how did you change? Like, did you hear your other name? And then she gets all weird and she's like, oh, it's happening. It's going to change. And then she describes how it feels. And I'm like, I'm not repeating it here.
No, it was NSFW and also super uncomfortable.
Yes. Cause I'm like, you're 15. Shut up. And then she says in this really weird, like deep demonic voice that I don't have another name.
She said, "I've never heard my other name."
I've never heard my other name.
Even though she's most of the time has been turning at the full moon, she's basically admitting that she is not like spirit connected to being a wolf, which basically I don't think she's a werewolf in the sense that Peter is. Obviously, I think she's possessed by something or someone.
Yeah. I think she's like in a way possessed by a wolf. Like she's not spiritually like how Peter is about it. But
No, I think whatever is making her turn into a wolf is some kind of like demonic possession, which may be how Olivia knows more about it. I don't know. But anyway,
that happens.
Creepy wolf voice starts to happen.
And then that's when we find out why she killed the girls, for what reason, and it shows in this like montage of her like killing all these people. And
then she begins to turn. Now this is when I could not take it anymore. And this was Vom City for me.
And I thought that this wasn't the thing that made squeamish. I thought the very last part of this scene was what made her squeamish, and I was shocked.
I wanted to die because they showed the beginning of the like wolf muzzle coming out of her face the same way they did with Peter. But the thing that they did not show, that they showed with Christina, that they did not show with Peter, was the ears and eyes literally falling off of the body and landing in a puddle of, and I don't do well with eyeball things. Like that is my number one thing I'm uncomfortable with. Like even in like medical shows, I'll be like okay with everything until it gets to like eyeballs, and then I'm like, nope, I'm out, I'm done. Like I do not do eyeballs, and so I was like,
the execution obviously is still just as amazing as it was when we first saw a transformation happen. Not much, they didn't really change much of anything. Obviously, there is some CGI because not actual, I don't know how they could actually get it to where a wolf muzzle is coming out of a chick's face.
facts.
But
I will
still,
say the one thing that is significant story-wise about this moment is that when Christina fully transforms into a wolf, she is white.
yeah, she is a full white wolf.
Which, if you look at Christina's character arc in the story or in the season, as soon as the wolf takes possession of her, her hair is the first time she has any white hair. And by this episode, has fully white hair, which I think is a sign of Christina not being in control of Christina's body anymore.
Yes.
The more white hair she had, the less she was in control of herself.
And that's very fair. So this happens, and as you know, she's transforming. Peter's just standing there. Like, he didn't kill her while she was still human.
But also, Letha and Roman are still in the room.
Yeah, and they can't get out because of the pure fact that the door ends up being locked. So,
yeah, but at this point, they haven't even tried to leave the room. Roman is just holding Letha back, and Letha's like screaming that she doesn't want Peter to hurt Christina, and she's freaking out. And Roman's like, "You don't understand what is going on here. It's her. She's the one killing people. Like, you have to get it through your head."
And he ends up telling then it gets to the point like after she finds it out, then she realizes, oh, now Peter's screwed. So then she's like, let me go, Roman, let me go. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Well, you're pregnant at.
Right. So then Peter takes the bacon grease and rubs it all over his face. Which,
because,
of course, we know last episode he said he was going to have to lose his human face. I understood why, but I was also like, you have 2 full jars of bacon grease and you're just going to rub some on your face and think that that's enough? Like, I don't know what this is going to help.
Yeah. And here's the thing, when me and Em were talking about it last episode, we were thinking that he's going to have like a wolf head, like he's not going to have like his face. I wasn't thinking he literally has to get rid of his human face to transform into a wolf.
I didn't think that. I just didn't know how they were going to do it. I thought it was going to be something where like he'd have to have a different face, like some kind of weird voodoo like magic. Not
well, I mean, from the state his face is in, he might, because obviously you put bacon grease on in front of a wolf, they're gonna go ham on that shit.
And she sure did.
She really did. And we hear Peter scream, we see a lot of blood, his face has a lot of blood on it, but we can't get a clear glimpse as to what his face looks like. And then it gets quiet, and we see Peter walk out from behind this corner where everything was going on. So like Roman and Letha haven't seen
actually see the wolf yet.
And so Peter walks out with his hand covering his face like this, with blood pouring out, and he finally puts his hands down. He has eyes, don't know her, they're gone. Jaw hanging on, like jaw swinging.
Like it's barely more than a skeleton.
Yeah, like
barely more.
If you've seen the original Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, like when the skeletons the pirates stepped into the moonlight and they became skeletons on the one island. That's what he looked like. That's exactly what he looked like.
Only bloody, not zombie.
Yeah, like bloody that. That's
Ooh.
what he looked like. That was a great comparison on my end.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically it was a skull and then like sheets of blood and maybe like little tiny chunks of skin somewhere.
Yeah.
His
And
hair his hair was still intact though. That was weird.
yeah, that did make sense. This, I believe, was mostly CG because the way his jaw kind of goes
Oh,
like,
it better be, honey. Could you no, not just because like could you imagine, but because the way the blood was pouring, there's no way that you could practically do that without having like some kind of mechanical something, and there was just nowhere to put it.
yes. And that was still visual effects wise amazing job because it doesn't look it, but you have to think it because there's no way in hell that was practical.
Oh yeah. So
And
so then the wolf is obviously done with Peter. He has no face anymore, and the wolf goes for Roman and Letha.
now
So
Roman's got this little pickaxe
Roman's
with him.
got his axe, and he's getting ready to swing, and he tells Letha to run, and she's running. But surprise, the door is chained and locked, and she can't get out, and she's screaming. And then the episode ends.
I literally wrote down, excuse me?
I wrote, damn, just damn. I was so messed up. I forgot to put an N in damn. I wrote it like the Hoover Dam.
Guys. But yeah, this was left with a melancholy feeling that, in theory, me and Mary Kate obviously know since we're watching this later when it didn't come out and we didn't know that there was a second or third season, there's no way Peter can die. So Peter has to come back at
Right.
somehow.
No, yeah. I mean, to be honest, remember we said in the second episode that we were trying to research how they did the werewolf transformation, and we accidentally pulled up a video that said it was from season 2, so we immediately turned it off.
Mhm.
We didn't watch it, but we watched enough to realize Peter's going to transform into a werewolf again in season 2. Like,
Yeah.
so Peter's clearly in season 2. My theory, actually, I did write a theory about this though. I wrote a lot of question marks and a big I don't know because I don't know if this theory has any weight at all. But I think Price is going to be how Peter's face gets fixed.
That's really good.
That's my theory. I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what. But I think Price will have something to do with it.
I like that theory. Now, with this being the end of this episode, who are we punching in the face this weekend?
Christina.
Thank you. She killed Jenny. That's clarification enough.
I mean,
Also,
maybe if the wolf spirit in Christina truly is a completely different entity, maybe I should punch the entity rather than Christina. But
no, I
like,
still like Christina because she did all of this because she's weird. Her motives to do it in the first place, whack. Don't care.
yeah, no,
Christina's still getting the papa. Him with the papa.
yeah.
Saving grace this week. I know I have a feeling you're gonna pick Price.
No, actually, I didn't.
Whoa.
I know, surprising. I had a lot of feelings about Price, but most of them were confusion. Um,
Fair.
my saving grace this episode was Shelley because it was the only human emotion in the whole episode.
See, I was torn between Shelly and Norman. Shelly because of obviously what happened to her, like you can't help but feel for her, and Norman
Right.
because he's trying to like be honest
And he's trying
with
to
him.
fix things.
Yeah, and I think that that was something that needed to happen, even though it was technically pushed to the back burner and like a side story to this.
Funny enough, I was saying I wrote Letha and then crossed her off because she wasn't the worst part of the episode.
She was dumb.
Right, she was dumb, but not bad.
Yeah, not punchable. Not
Right.
punchable. But I think for this episode they did a really good job. I feel like this was a good build up to where we're left off with.
Yeah.
Um I just don't understand how they're gonna have like that we started the fight scene in this episode, and I don't know, it can't be that big to be a whole 42-minute long episode that they're gonna go through it,
Well,
which
mm,
has me feeling that there's going to be something bigger that's going to happen
yeah,
in next
not
episode.
not to spoil anything because I don't know anything except for that I do know that the title of next week's episode is The Birth,
Yeah. So
which can really only mean one thing.
yeah. Well,
So,
cool.
so they're gonna somehow resolve this fight,
And Letha's gonna give birth.
and Letha's gonna give birth, and Peter's gonna get his face back? Question mark. I'm also trying to figure out how much we're really going to learn about what is going on with Price and Olivia, or if that's going to be like a season 2 problem.
Yeah.
Did they know that they were going to have a season 2 when they ended this? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still going to be a lot of questions at the end. I know we're going to be left with questions after next week's episode. But it's all with learning what
Yeah.
is going on.
And when we do our season recap episode, I would like to watch the Netflix trailer for season 2. Not any, I'm not still not going to do any like research into season 2, but I want to watch the trailer so that we at least have some way we can pose our questions.
Yeah, that's completely fair. And obviously, me and Em have talked about that. We talked about this in last week's episode. When it comes to filming season 2, after we do our special episode, we have to sit down and plan our scheduling for doing season 2.
Yeah.
And when everything's come out, I think we should still be good for Sundays with everything coming out. But
Oh yeah, no, we will still figure that out, and there should not be a gap in releasing anything. It's just a matter of when we film.
yeah, which is fair.
Which is a inside baseball problem that you don't really need to worry about.
Exactly. You'll still get your episodes. You'll still hear us complain about either the show being fantastic or great, and you can look forward to that every Sunday.
And you can still look forward to your morning coffee and us complaining about our lives.
Yeah, it's a fun time. You know, we're glad that we actually have gotten through a whole season. We started this in what, June?
We only came up with the idea to even do the podcast in May.
Yeah.
And here
So
we
we started.
And here we are on our 13th episode.
With my dog freaking out.
Almost made it to 20 episodes. Made it past 10 episodes.
We did make it past 10 episodes. It's something.
We have 2 of our videos have more than 100 views.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, granted, one of those 2 is the sneeze video, so like.
We know where those views came from. Thank you, sneeze community. I appreciate it. But by the time we're gonna be done with Hemlock Grove and the whole series, you're gonna be home. You come home the week we put out our last episode for Hemlock Grove.
Yeah, if the timeline works out and we don't run into any roadmaps or take any time off for the winter holiday season, I will be home just in time to figure out what show we're gonna do next. Granted, there's still 2 whole seasons between now and then, so I don't want to think about it and get my hopes up on a better show.
Very true. Very true. And we have decided that when we do come to the time of doing our next show, because clearly we didn't have like fan base or anything like that to ask questions or get input. Me and Em are going to bring one of our favorite picks to the table and have you guys vote on which one you want us to do next, which
Yes.
I think is pretty exciting.
Also, this is random, and I meant to say it at the beginning of the episode, but I'm just going to throw it in here before we close. In exciting news, very exciting to me, on October 21st on the young Netflix, there will be a new movie coming out that is a new remake of Rebecca. The book that we were just talking about is a new version of it starring Armie Hammer and Lily James.
Honestly, that sounds like a good cast.
Yeah, is it Lily James or is it Lily Collins? Hold on. Let me make sure.
Lily Collins.
Let me make sure. I think it might be Lily Collins. Let me
My other dog's laying in bed looking this.
No, it is Lily James. It is Lily James.
Is Lily James?
Yes. It is. I'm very excited. It comes out on October 21st, and I just thought it was appropriate because we were just talking about it, and now it's going to be on the Netflix. And if we weren't trying to have a Halloween themed episode for our bonus episode, I would force Monica to watch this instead because it would be on the right weekend for our bonus episode, and it would be fitting. But I guess we.
No. We already saw what we're doing for our bonus episode, right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, just making sure. Obviously, we're watching Halloween. Duh. But I'm so excited.
I'm much more excited about Rebecca coming out.
You're gonna be so disappointed with this movie. You're gonna be so mad at me that I'm making you talk about it from a story standpoint because you're gonna hate it. But
it's not that I don't want to watch it because I don't want to watch it, but also what am I gonna say?
Honestly, because there's not really special effects in it. Like the budget was so cheap. I just think it'd be something for us to geek out about. I think it's the perfect timing for it. And Halloween's a classic.
There was another thing that is coming out that I wanted to say, but I need to remember it. So I'm a little bit of a crazy person. For anyone who hasn't figured that out yet. And every month, on the first of the month, I look up the month's TV premiere schedule to add it to my Excel spreadsheet of every TV show that exists ever. I have a color-coded Excel spreadsheet of every TV show that exists ever because I'm that person. And so when I was looking at it this month, that's how I found out Rebecca was coming out. And there was another one that's coming out for the end of the month that I thought was interesting as well. And now I need to remember what it was. Oh, duh! It's a movie that I'm in.
Jesus.
On October 30th, there is a movie coming out on streaming to buy called The True Adventures of Wolf Boy, starring Jaden Martell, who is one of the boys from It, the little boys from It.
Oh, that's the movie that we're filming here.
Yeah. I'm in it. I'm an extra. I've seen the trailer and I'm in one of the scenes in the trailer, so I know I'm in the movie. You can barely see me because I'm on a freaking carnival ride spinning, but I'm in it. And it stars Jaden Martell and John Turturro, and like I said, I'm an extra in it. One of my good family friends got picked for a featured extra role, so he's actually a character in it. It was filmed in our hometown, and it comes out this month as well. So
that's exciting.
A feature film debut. Just kidding. I'm just standing in line at a carnival. But yeah, I can't believe I remembered Rebecca and forgot the movie that I'm freaking in.
Sometimes I don't have words anymore. I don't.
And
But speaking of Halloween, I think I'm gonna go watch it because it's on AMC today, and me and Mom are watching that.
oh, I have to figure out how I'm gonna watch it here.
I'm not saying to watch it illegally.
Mm, yeah, no, I gotta find it in the young internet databases.
Yeah, you do.
Everyone watch all of your films legally with purchased money. Do not down, do not stream things illegally. It is horrible for the movie industry, which is currently crumbling as we speak. And TBH, I don't give a flying F about movie stars' paychecks, but the gaffers and the sound people and the production assistants, they also don't have money right now, and they don't have a lot to begin with. So, coming from someone who knows how shitty it is starting out in the film industry, just don't be an asshole. Your entertainment is still costing someone else's job. And on that note, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Death and Aliens. Please send us emails. Let us know about ideas for Monica's Halloween costume, or what TV shows we should watch next, or to just tell us to stop talking about ourselves because you don't care, at deathandaliens@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MK_stupor, MK_superstar, spelled EMKAY.
And you can follow me on Instagram at monica.lynn_, and then you can follow me also on Twitter at Money_Lynn_.
We are both clearly good at speaking today.
Yeah, and once again, whoever stole my identity on Twitter, I would genuinely like it back.